All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we are exploring a multi-million-dollar mystery, and it's one that's literally hiding in plain sight inside the modern enterprise. We're talking about revenue leakage. But, not the obvious stuff. We're looking at this silent, insidious drain of capital. Things like deductions, pricing discrepancies, operational exceptions. The kind of stuff businesses have just kind of learned to live with, right? It's this invisible drag on the bottom line, and I guarantee you, it is happening right now.
So imagine a boardroom full of top executives. What if they all pulled out their phones right this second and texted their teams this exact question? How much revenue is leaking from our business today? And they absolutely needed the answer before the meeting ended. I mean, just picture the chaos. Instead of getting a clear, definitive answer, they'd probably get a mess of disjointed numbers, totally conflicting assumptions, or honestly, from some teams, just dead silence. See, everyone's holding a tiny piece of the puzzle, but absolutely nobody is looking at the full picture.
The absolutely crucial takeaway here, those executives in that scenario, they aren't actually struggling to recover lost revenue. The real issue is they just can't see where it's escaping in the first place. The enterprise doesn't lack smart, capable people, and it definitely doesn't lack reports. What it lacks is a coherent picture. All that vital information you need to truly understand the leakage, it's just scattered everywhere, living across totally disconnected systems, disparate documents, and isolated, siloed teams.
To really wrap our heads around the massive scale of this visibility problem, we've got to look at the data. In the US alone, trade spending in consumer products exceeds a jaw-dropping $200 billion every single year. Let that sink in. We are definitely not talking about pocket change here. I mean, the sheer scale of this expenditure absolutely demands laser-like precision. But the reality on the ground? It's something wildly different.
That staggering $200 billion figure actually eats up roughly 20% of gross sales for most of these companies. Just to put that into perspective for a second, after you account for the cost of goods sold, this is typically the single largest commercial expenditure on the entire P&L statement. It's this massive financial engine, yet, incredibly, it's running with major leaks.
So you might be wondering, where does all that money actually go? Well, a massive 73% of all consumer packaged goods marketing spend is funneled directly through retailers. We're talking trade promotions, shopper marketing, retail media, the whole shebang. Now really think about the complexity there. When 3/4 of your massive marketing budget is flowing outward through external retail partners, tracking exactly how effectively those dollars are being used, it becomes incredibly convoluted. It's a logistical nightmare.
But here's the kicker. Despite that critical, massive investment, industry research consistently shows that between 59 and 72% of trade promotions completely failed to generate a profit. I mean, seriously, think about that for a second. Up to 70% of trade promotion spend is totally ineffective. Why? Well, it happens because of poor planning, shifting market dynamics, or honestly, just a total lack of real-time validation to course correct when things inevitably go off the rails.
And so the revenue just quietly drains away through the cracks. First, you've got invalid chargebacks. These are deductions the manufacturer never even authorized, and they eat up 5 to 10% of all claims. Then, thanks to weak, sluggish internal processes, another 10 to 20% of all deductions are simply written off as unrecoverable year after year. And the human cost? Just as high. Finance teams are burning up to half their working hours, literally 30 to 50% of their time, just desperately chasing down deduction details across endless email chains and clunky spreadsheets. You see, the real disease here is fragmentation across the enterprise. Every single department owns just a tiny piece of the story. Sales, they understand the nuances of the customer negotiations. Finance is hyper-focused on tracking the deductions. Supply chain sees the shortages and the logistics. But collectively, the enterprise essentially has blinders on. Because these departments operate in silos, there is absolutely no single unified picture of where the value is quietly escaping.
And all this fragmentation traps companies in this really outdated, old-world way of thinking. Historically, organizations literally built entire teams dedicated solely to recovering value after it had already escaped. But industry standards make this a total losing game. If a deduction isn't disputed within a really tight 90 to 120-day window, it becomes permanent. And by the time most organizations even surface the issue from their tangled web of spreadsheets, it's simply too late. The clock has run out, and they have zero choice but to just write it off.
Now, this requires a total paradigm shift. Instead of building bigger teams to retrospectively recover lost money faster, which, let's face it, is just treating the symptom, we need to be asking a completely different question. What if that deduction just never happened in the first place?
right? How do we shift from reactionary recovery to proactive prevention?
Well, this is exactly where artificial intelligence steps in. And honestly, it is incredibly exciting because it fundamentally changes the economics of visibility. For the very first time, organizations can economically weave together thousands of these isolated signals. We're talking about taking invoices, shipment data, retailer portals, pricing contracts, and connecting them all into one continuously learning intelligent system. It's like a giant puzzle, and AI can identify those complex relationships and surface hidden risks long before they ever hit the financial results.
And the crazy part? This shift from retrospective recovery to proactive prevention, it isn't just some theoretical concept. It's already happening out there in the market. Right now, 34% of AI-enabled finance organizations are actively deploying error and anomaly detection. It is moving so rapidly from being just an aspirational goal on a whiteboard to a standard, fully embedded operational capability.
The stakes here are just unimaginably high. I mean, the broader generative AI opportunity across enterprise use cases is sized at an astonishing $2.6 to $4.4 trillion in annual value. Trillion with a T. But here's the catch. The organizations that are actually capturing their share of this massive multi-trillion-dollar prize, they aren't just using AI to automate their old broken workflows. No way. They are entirely rewiring their operating models from the ground up.
We are truly shifting away from that old-world philosophy of merely detecting leakage, running functional reports, and desperately chasing cost recovery. Instead, we're stepping into this future world driven by true commercial intelligence. This new world operates on a model that actively predicts leakage, provides genuine, real-time enterprise visibility, and focuses purely on upfront value preservation. It's a total game changer.
So by connecting all these dots, AI turns every single deduction into a powerful learning signal. Was it inaccurate pricing? Was there a transportation delay? Maybe the goods were damaged in transit. By deeply analyzing the data and inferring these root relationships, the enterprise can systematically redesign its processes to fix the underlying conditions. Basically, you stop treating the symptoms and you finally cure the disease.
I'll leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought to take back to your own boardroom. If revenue leakage is truly an enterprise visibility problem, and not just a finance problem, what exactly are your blind spots costing you today? What value pools is your organization silently accepting as lost simply because you cannot see them? Really think about it.